There are a lot of owners out there who think neutering their dog is this magical fix. It's going to be the button that they get to press that stops their dog from being aggressive or being reactive or guarding toys. The problem is that some of those behaviors I mentioned can absolutely be influenced by. If you're neutering your dog because you think it's going to fix their behavior, you might be setting yourself up for a huge disappointment. Now I hear it all the time.
My dog is aggressive, my dog won't stop humping, my dog jumps on everyone, my dog pees on everything. He's getting into fights with other dogs. Should I just get him neutered?
And somewhere along the way, people started treating neutering your dog like it's dog training, or like it's a substitute for training your dog. And it's absolutely not. Now, before anyone loses their mind, I'm not anti-neutering. I think that it definitely serves a purpose for many people, depending on the situation, once the dog is fully developed. All of my own personal dogs have been neutered because they're all from shelters. What I am against is owners expecting a surgery to replace or to substitute their need to train their dog. If you are a lazy dog owner looking for a shortcut because you don't feel like putting rules, boundaries, structure, and accountability into your dog's life, then neutering is not going to save you. In this video, I'm going to talk about exactly what neutering does, what it doesn't do, when you should do it, and the downside of doing it too early. Before we move on, if you enjoy no bullshit conversations about dog training and dog behavior, take a second to like this video. It really helps YouTube push this video out to more dog owners in need. And if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I post new videos every week on dog behavior and helping owners learn to understand their dogs so that they can live in harmony together. So let's first talk about the misconceptions of what people think neutering does to their dog. Basically, there are a lot of owners out there who think neutering their dog is this magical fix. It's going to be the button that they get to press that stops their dog from being aggressive or being reactive or guarding toys or jumping or marking, and it's not that simple. The problem is that some of those behaviors I mentioned can absolutely be influenced by testosterone, but some of them have absolutely nothing to do with testosterone. And that's where owners get disappointed. You see, most dog behavioral problems don't come from hormones alone. They come from the dog learning what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. So what's the point of neutering? Why should you ever neuter your dog? Well, there are some behaviors that neutering will absolutely influence. For dogs that are excessive markers, trying to mark every little thing in the house, neutering can definitely impact that and their desire to do so. It also can impact your dog's desire to hump or to mount everything all the time. It can also help if you have a dog that is constantly roaming, looking for females in heat, and it can also help with competition between your dog and other intact males. You see, those behaviors are influenced by testosterone, and sometimes lowering the dog's testosterone by neutering can help improve those situations. Sometimes. It's not a guaranteed fix. Your dog might be struggling with any of those above behaviors, you neuter them, and they still struggle with those behaviors. Because notice what I didn't say. What I didn't say that neutering does is it doesn't teach your dog manners. It doesn't teach your dog how to behave. Because it doesn't, and that's exactly what training is for. Now, those are some situations where neutering can be beneficial, but the stuff I'm about to talk about, it's probably not going to make a difference. For example, if your dog is fearfully reactive or fearfully aggressive, neutering probably isn't going to change that. If your dog is a resource guarder, neutering alone probably isn't going to change that. If your dog is anxiously pacing around the house, or if your dog is barking at everybody through the window or they jump on all your guests, neutering isn't going to change that. You see, those are training problems. You have a training and a relationship issue with your dog, not a testosterone problem. Personally, I think that's one of the funniest misconceptions in dog training, because you think that by just simply removing the dog's balls, right, which is what neutering is, all of a sudden, your dog is not going to have any behavioral problems, as if that was the sole reason why they were acting the way that they were acting. You see, it just doesn't work that way. Proper training teaches and modifies and changes your dog's behavior. Surgery just changes their hormones, and those are two different things. Okay, next, let's talk about when you should neuter your dog, because this is something that is done improperly, in my opinion, so often. Because this is where owners receive outdated advice all the time. I don't think dogs should be neutered at 6 months all the time. This is especially important if you have a large or a giant breed. That's because those hormones are not just involved with reproduction. They're also heavily involved with growth and development for your dog. And when you neuter too early, you do significantly increase your dog's risk, especially in large and giant breeds, their risk in developing joint and orthopedic problems later in their life. That's why today, most veterinarians, or at least good veterinarians, are recommending that dogs reach full physical maturity before you neuter them. And in most dogs, that's around 2 years old, which is significantly different than when most dogs get neutered, which is around 6 months old. Now, does that mean every dog should wait till 2 years? Not necessarily, but definitely the flip is also true, which is every dog should not be neutered at 6 months old. Your answer to when you should neuter your dog should really come down to your dog's breed, their size, their lifestyle, and what your veterinarian recommends. There really is no one-size-fits-all for when you should neuter your dog because it doesn't just make your dog a very well-behaved dog on its own. So if that's the case and many dogs shouldn't be neutered until they are physically mature around 2 years old, then why do shelters do it so early? That is a common question that I see, and it's because they have a different problem than you do as a dog owner. You see, shelters don't have to just think about one dog like you do as a dog owner. They're thinking about all of the dogs, and they're trying to prevent unwanted puppies from being born. You see, it's a population control issue, and it's not really about what's in best interest of each individual dog, unfortunately. So while it doesn't make sense necessarily from a developmental standpoint, it does make sense for shelters to be neutering dogs around 6 months old from a population control standpoint. And those are just two different conversations. Ultimately, this is what I want you to understand as a dog owner. Neutering your dog is a medical decision. It is not a substitution for a training plan. If you decide to neuter your dog, because you don't have to, but if you do, that's fine. If you decide to wait until they are fully physically mature, especially if you're large or a giant breed, that's even better. But whichever decision you make, to neuter, to not neuter, to wait until fully physically mature, it doesn't matter because you still have to have a training plan. You still have to raise your dog. You still have to train your dog. I will say it until I'm blue in the face on this channel. Your dog still needs rules, your dog needs structure, and your dog needs to be held accountable for what they are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. Your dog still needs good, healthy, daily mental and physical exercise. You still need to be able to establish a clear line of communication with your dog when you're able to tell them effectively when they are right and when they are wrong, which ultimately means you still need to train your dog regardless. So don't just think of neutering as this magic button you get to press and then all of a sudden all their behavioral problems go away. Because at the end of the day, if your dog is an asshole before they go in for surgery, don't expect them to wake up after surgery, after the anesthesia wears off, as a gentleman, because that's just not how this works. In conclusion, does neutering improve behavior? Sometimes it can improve certain behaviors. Those are behaviors that are specifically associated with having extra testosterone, such as marking, such as roaming, such as mounting, such as sometimes issues with other intact males. But if you are thinking about neutering your dog because they are anxious, because they are fearful, because they are aggressive, because they are reactive, or because they are resource guarders, you might want to think again. The only way to fix those problems is with proper training. Training creates behavior, and proper leadership from you as the owner consistently is what maintains that behavior. Neutering is simply one medical decision along the way. Don't confuse one for the other. Now I want to hear from you. Had you neutered your dog? Have you seen behavior improve? Has it stayed the same? Has it gotten worse? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoy straightforward, no bullshit dog training advice that actually works, like this video and subscribe to the channel. I want you to be here. I'm the Big Dog Guy, and I'll see you in the next one.